Here we go. Okay, hello everybody. I'm gonna get rid of the old one. Let's just make sure the new one is up here. It says I'm live. Okay, can you say something for me? Just make sure the new one is up here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome.
Okay, can you say something for me? Just make sure the new one is up here.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome.
Okay, and I'm just going to tag you in the bottom of it. If you happen to be on Facebook nearby, you can just share it to your share it to your list. And well, it's not letting me at the moment here. Oh crap, Facebook for you. Okay, well, I'll give it to you right afterwards. And oh, there it is. Share to you. Okay, there we go. Okay, so it should be available to accept on your timeline.
I just did it, so hopefully it showed up there.
So everybody will be able to see it. I can see the numbers at the top right now. It's 0, but we'll see if more attend. So
excellent.
Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for all this. We had a few technical difficulties at the beginning. The audio was so distorted you could hardly understand either of us. And that's now she's got on her computer and it seems to be working fine. So with the power of intention, we'll put a little candle and some Palo Santo. Hopefully that'll hold the container here so we can have a beautiful share. How are you today?
Lovely. I'm fantastic. And I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to be live with you. And I'm looking forward to sharing some insights with everybody. Originally, I had picked the energy, your own personal energy, and the matrix, as everybody calls it, and what we're, the construct of what we're in, and it looks outside of us when we look at the world and what's going on outside in the world. Sometimes it can look pretty scary, as to what's happening. Things are collapsing. There's a lot of people losing trust in, authority figures and that sort of thing. And I'm personally telling people, get excited, because really the systems that were in place prior were actually not supportive of who we are as beings, and we're very suppressive and oppressive. And so in order for us to build something new, it has to collapse. It has to fall apart. And like I posted a post, that in the ashes, out of the ashes comes the phoenix. And we are the powerful beings that are keeping this construct together. We're the ones creating it. And so when you look at this, it's like opening up a book to a new chapter and the page is blank and the pen is in your hand. What is it you want to see? The energies that are coming into the earth right now are so powerful, so intense, but they're very powerful to create. This is the creation phase that we're in. And so it is extremely important for us to understand our own energy and to be conscious co-creators. Where are we creating from? Where our attention goes, our energy flows. So what does that mean? I mean, it sounds beautiful and catchy and stuff, but what does that mean? Well, if I'm scrolling on Facebook and I'm paying attention to all of the things that I'm seeing about Hollywood or the government, and I'm having, especially if I'm having emotional reactions to it, then those are the things you're creating. We've been creating
through our creation. Yep.
Right. So we've been creating our whole lives. We just weren't told. And so when you look at the matrix, I like to explain it to people in a way that you are the avatar, like the movie Avatar. You are the avatar inside this illusion, inside this construct. But as you start to become aware, you also realize that you are also the programmer. You're writing the program as to what it is you're seeing. And so it's really hard for us to pay attention to all our thoughts. So how does it all work? Well, the energy around us, the way that I like to explain it, has all this potential. And so it doesn't actually take form until we interact with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do we interact with it? Well, we are electromagnetic beings. And so, our thoughts are electric, but it's our emotions that are the magnetism. And
Mm-hmm.
so, as we are on our journey and we're starting to understand what is this life all about? Why am I here? We came here to master energy. We came here to be co creators and to be godlike and create with
Mm-hmm.
free will.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people will say, well, why is all this evil here, or what appears to be evil? And so we have to recognize that for a very long time, passed down through generations and many lifetimes, we've been bringing darkness or negative energies and entities and stuff with us that have now manifested, that are controlling, or
Without our knowing, it's in our
without us
subconscious.
recognizing. Yes. And in the end of the, when you look at all the things that, as you go down the rabbit holes and you start to understand what's truly happening in the world, the question always came for me. I mean, I've been on my journey since the mid 2000s, and that's when I started looking down all the rabbit holes. But I kept coming up with, why have they gone to such great lengths to oppress us? Why?
Mm-hmm.
What are they so afraid of? There's got to be something. And so what we recognize is that it's our energy. Our energy is being used to create this construct. And so when you truly start stepping into and understanding that, you really truly start to understand how powerful you are. And so,
And you also need to recognize that they cannot create without our energy, because darkness in its pure form has no energy to create. There's no light, there's no projection of the vibration. So they need to keep us under the illusion through news and media and stories and all this kind of stuff, so that they can create a false reality in front of us.
right, they're using our energy to create it. Okay,
Absolutely.
so that's why it's so important to witness your thoughts. Where is my attention going? And then the other thing is, it's really hard when you first start down that journey to recognize, okay, where are my thoughts? Where's my energy going? We have about 60,000 thoughts a day. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's a lot of thoughts to pay attention to. But
Mm-hmm.
the biggest thing is to step back from your thoughts and not to react to them. I know when I first started meditating, they were telling you, quiet your mind. Well, if I start quieting my mind, it just starts barking back at me, trying to get my attention because it's had my focus all this time. And so, what we need to do is just witness our thoughts and not react to them. One teacher actually taught me to say, "Thank you for sharing," to my thoughts and just not react to it. So I'm acknowledging my thought, but I'm not actually giving it my energy and focus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not giving it an emotional reaction. Therefore, I'm not creating it. But be curious about your thoughts as well. Where is it coming from?
Mm-hmm.
Where do these thoughts come from? When you understand that your brain, your mind is actually like an onboard computer. And so it's constantly recording information and then regurgitating it back to you. But all of this time, we thought that our brain and our mind and our thoughts was who we are.
Agreed. Can I
Not.
can I expand on that?
Of course, I'd love it.
So essentially, we haven't even talked about us being part of God yet, but we're all part of God, and we're all fractals of God living out an experience. The Course in Miracles, or ACIM, speaks about the mad thought, where somebody said, what if I'm not part of God? And guess what? We were instantaneous creators. Well, what happened is the brain, which is a tool, it's basically a projector. We don't know that, but it's projecting everything that we believe and think about. It's projecting out into our reality and creating a vibration or light or photons or electromagnetics, like you're talking about. And then to also support that, the ego had to be created, or edge God out, EGO. So it's basically a part of you that's in your brain that says, you're bad. You can't ever be part of God. You hurt him. You're a sinner. You're evil. And basically, this reality has now, we're all having independent experiences of God with our ego, which is basically made the brain our controller, exactly all you've said. But our brain has the ability to interpret everything negatively as against it. So we're still not worthy. We still can't go back to God. We're not a creator. So we only stink and think, or in our subconscious mind, think about the things that are deep in our memory and our awareness, but we don't consciously recognize that we're doing it. It's like, hey, I'm not good enough, or I'm an asshole, or whatever we might say, cancel, which has been programmed into us to say that we are those things, and then you'll play out those vibrations. So just adding to what
Absolutely.
you're saying.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that we have to remember that when we come in, the brain came in with a clear slate. And so from the age of 0 to about 7 is when we received our operating system,
Just
right?
quoting you from your parents. Yep.
Right. And so then it's up to us as we start to grow and mature and identify that, no, I'm not my brain. My brain is a tool, but I've created this alter ego because I thought I was my brain. And so I need to take back the driver's seat of my brain and use it as the tool, but then you start to recognize that, wait a minute, there's more to me than just my brain. And that's when we start to connect to the intelligence of the heart. And the heart is the portal to our higher selves. It's the portal to the creator. It's the portal to the other side, the veil. And so it's where we need to go within to find that connection of our own innate wisdom, our own innate connection to ourselves, our higher selves, which is what really we should be letting guide us. And that is who we truly are. That's what gave us life here. That's what gave us the ability to be here, is our higher selves and our spirit. And
they've actually proven scientifically that there are neuronal tissues in our heart, which gives us a second brain.
Well, and the other part falls in too. So now, when we start to recognize this, we have this dissonance that comes in between, because the brain is still trying to be in charge because we let it.
Yep.
And the heart is wanting to come in and lead us and guide us. And so, right. So then we have this dissonance within us as to, who am I? What am I listening to? What's going on? But what I like to teach people is that take yourself into meditation and create an energetic cord that goes from your mind down into your heart space. And that allows, because now there's a cord between there, that allows for a pathway to become harmonized. And then we can actually choose, where we're coming from when we're coming out into the world. I'm going to open my heart and listen to its innate intelligence. And so that's why it's so important for us to go into meditation and learn to quiet our minds. And the easiest way, like I said, is to acknowledge it, but just not react to it. The ego cannot survive and live in a world in the present moment. And so when you think about your thoughts, when you look at them, it's always dragging up something from the past or making us afraid of the future. Yep. And so if you bring yourself into the present moment and ask, what are the facts? What facts do I have? That gives you clarity. And then the ego sits in the background because now you're not listening to it. What it's trying to feed you is regurgitated information, like a program, like a computer. And so it's a wonderful tool that was given to us. And so the same thing, I tell people as well, when we recognize, oh my gosh, we're in this crazy place, it's a matrix, and somebody else seems to be pulling the strings, but it's like we're slaves, but yet, and I know people, use that term, but we're slaves, but we don't recognize that the key to our shackles, to being unshackled, is around our neck and in our chest. It's in our hearts.
Absolutely.
And all we had to do was stop looking out here for all the answers and go inwards to find that key.
And stop defining ourselves from the stories in the past, which are just replaying. I'm not good enough for a relationship. This didn't work out. I had a divorce. When in this very moment, you're something completely different. But if you're attached to the past or have an expectation of the future, you're going to get disappointed. And the past is going to drag you down like an anchor. So ultimately, you have to be right here. And when you say meditative, it's completely in your body. Most people are a foot above their body. They're disassociated because they're scared and they're angry and stuff. Get in your body by grounding, breathe deep, and just feel the wind on your arms, the sun on your arms. Feel in this exact moment, and you're going to feel completely different.
Exactly. And our body is an antenna. And so it emits energy and it also reads energy. Mm-hmm. And so being disconnected from our body, a lot of us went through a lot of trauma when we were younger. And so because of the trauma, we disconnected from our body and we didn't listen to it anymore. And so
Disassociated is the same thing, which is
yes,
a spirit or a psychological term, which means our energy isn't in our body anymore because it's too scary to be in our body. So most people
right?
don't even know that it's happening. Go ahead.
Exactly. And our body is it's a wonderful teacher. Like I said, when you understand that it's your emotions. We came here to master energy. And so emotions are energy. They're energy in motion. And so, but what's happened is a lot of times that trauma that we went through, or those hard things the challenges that we faced, the emotions were so heavy and so hard that we pushed them down inside us and they became stuck because we didn't know how to cope with them. We didn't know how to deal with them. And then what
That's
happens
trauma right there. Keep going.
right? And so what happens from an energetic standpoint is that our emotional energetic aura becomes stagnant and it stops maturing and growing. And so when you look at people, sometimes you think, oh my God, you're acting like a child. What is going on? Truly, they are an emotional child because they didn't mature after that trauma and all the emotions got suppressed. It anchored in right there. And so the emotions didn't have time to mature to catch up to understand. Well, in the matrix, the biggest thing that we need to understand is our own vibration, our own frequency. Where am I at with that? What's going on inside my body? Because it's creating the bubble around me of the world that I'm experiencing.
And let's call that your self-choice. That's the things that you choose to believe about yourself, which the universe will continue to reinforce at your detriment.
Right, because it's in your energetic aura. And the
Absolutely.
world outside of us is a mirror of what's going on inside of us. Now, that is a tough one to do because people say to me, well, where's my vibration? Where's my frequency? And I'll say, well, have a look at what's going on in your world. How's your relationships? How's your finances? How's your, your abundance? How is your connection to yourself? How is your family? What's your job like, your career? All of those things are a reflection of what's going on inside of us because we created it and we're like magnets to each other, like attracts like. Now, the thing is, we're also like nature. To me, in my opinion, nature was supposed to be our biggest teacher. We came here to be the guardians of nature. But it was also supposed to teach us that it's this beautifully orchestrated system that self-balances, self-regulates, which is like our body and like us. But instead, we didn't actually learn that. And so when you look at the energy of this construct, it's the same. So when I'm suffering from an emotion, let's say I'm suffering from anger, anger that I repressed, then I will run into people in my experience of this life that are angry and they project that anger at me because
so
it's
you can
inside
feel it and you can deal with it in your energy because they're unwilling to do it themselves. So we
right?
partner up with people of like vibration. But I hear you.
Right. And so it triggers that emotion in me. The universe is trying to say, hey, please pay attention to this anger that's stuck inside you. I need you to heal it. I need you to learn what it was trying to teach you. And so then you can release it. And now you'll find that as you move on forward in your path and your creation, gee, there's no more angry people. There's no more anger being projected at me. And my vibration has risen enough that I can create from a better place, from a better
Because you were
vibration.
peering into a mirror and those reflections were exactly yourself, but you couldn't
Right?
accept it as that. I was the victim. They do it to me all the time, but you
Right.
never took your part in it.
Right, exactly. And so it's very humbling and you swallow the humility pie quite a bit, when you look at it, but on the same token, it's such a beautiful system. When you're manifesting things, let's say you're trying to manifest a vacation for yourself and you've pictured it, you know exactly what you want, but something else shows up and it's triggered you and you're like, what? That's not what I was manifesting. Like, I don't get it. Why this stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what's showing up. It's the gift. The universe is saying to you, this little thing right here, it may not be little, I'm just saying that. But this thing right here that you got triggered into is the only thing that's holding you back from having your manifestation.
And
It's a
in
self,
that moment, to
yeah,
take an awareness, having is evidence of wanting. Carolyn Elliott in Existential Kink talks about it. So if it's coming into your life, you're going to have to go look inside, because there's some need or desire or negative inverted desire saying that I don't get a vacation, or it's too much money, or it's too whatever. It's a very clear evidence that there's something wrong in your head.
right? And so it's such a beautiful system when you look at it. It's just like nature. And so it will show you the little clues, it leaves little clues for you. And
Yeah.
so how do we raise our vibration? This is where we started this whole conversation, because it's
Just before
us.
we go there,
Yeah.
it's for you, because you said the word for you. We have to recognize and take self-responsibility. Everything's happening for you, even the bad stuff, not against you. You're not a
Yes.
victim. You're not being hurt. Your vibrational escrow of negativity or whatever is just bowling you over. And sometimes you have to spend a couple weeks being really positive and putting down negative thoughts before your inertia will change in the positive direction. So go
Right,
ahead.
exactly. And we're powerful. We do know how to use energy. We do know how to speak telepathically. We do know all of these things. It's just that we've forgotten. And so it's so important for us to learn to understand the world around us through the eyes of energy. And so how does, asking those questions, where's my energy at? Where's my focus today? Sometimes I'll tell people it's like we have to have a bouncer at the front door in front of us. Like what, right? So I want to make sure that what am I putting in my body? I have to
Yep.
pay attention to that. My bouncer has to say, yep, that's okay to put in there,
Food and watching TV and all those things are all putting into your body. Yep.
right. Who am I connected to on a larger, more intimate level? Who are my friends? Who are the family? What's their energy like? Are they uplifting me? Are they pulling me down? And so all of these things are important. And the reason why I bring this up is because we all have to recognize that we have given our accountability away to everything else in our lives. We've been indoctrinated to do that. And so what's needed most right now is for us to do self-governance. Self-governance. This is my inner kingdom, and I am ruler over my inner kingdom. And so I need to be accountable for everything that happens in it and outside of it.
So would you call that self-mastery? I did a live on that this morning.
I didn't get to catch it, but I was looking forward to catching the replay. Yes, it is. And so it's also, like I said, this is your bouncer has to pay attention. Where am I spending most of my time? What am I seeing on Facebook?
And
Social
that's
media.
sovereignty, and that's your inner king, inner queen as well in all of that, because you're choosing what you align with. You're choosing who you allow into your court to basically tell you good things, or ego that basically says you're not worth it and go home and go curl up in a ball and die.
Exactly. And of course, those thoughts that you're talking about, those were imprinted on you, whether it's from ancestral, like generational trauma, or whether it was from your childhood, from the software that was the operating system that was imprinted on you as a child. And so that leads me.
Let's extend that just for a sec, because it's important. We have to understand that we are the software, 50% of our parents' genetics and 50% of our like mother and father. And basically that creates a linking of lineages, and epigenetics carries source code of the traumas and karmas and stuff of all of our grandparents, great grandparents, etc. So in shamanism, it teaches we're healing 10 generations back and 7 generations forward by being the change and cleaning up all that source code in our genetics so that we don't give it to our kids.
Right, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. And the other thing is, like I think I shared with you when we were chatting before, but just to give you an example of the ancestral thing, your ancestors are here rooting you on because of the trauma that you brought in with you from them. I mean, literally they are you, but because you brought that in and decided that you could confront it, they're literally offering their energy, their wisdom, their support, their guidance to you. And as you go through that, so when you're going through your healing and tried to understand it, you can invite them in. You can
Well,
invite
we're
them in,
literally healing the things that they couldn't complete themselves,
right?
essentially. So they're
So
so grateful.
right? So I actually went into a meditation one time where I was being led through a mountain valley, and I could see these, these colors coming through the bottom of the valley and stuff. And I'm like, what? Where are we going? Like, I don't get this. But anyway, I followed, and by the time I got down to the valley, it was people. There were all these beautiful people that had come to say thank you to me, and it was my ancestors.
Wow.
It was my ancestors, and there was a huge, massive line of them. And they came to say thank you for the healing, for freeing them, and how much they were so grateful and proud and stuff. And so it's very, very powerful because, of course, time is just a 3D construct. The past, present, and future is all right here, right now. And so, it's such a powerful thing. And I think a lot of people struggle with the healing part. And I want to touch a little bit about that. Healing is very unique to everybody.
So
And
explain healing first. What's the concept of healing?
so the way that I understand it, my spirit has always been very explaining things to me through the eyes of energy. And so when things happen to us, whether it's generational or in this lifetime, it's frozen in time in that space. And so I like to explain it like it's almost like the butterfly effect. And so we can step back into that past as ourselves right now or our higher selves. And we can actually communicate with our younger selves who suffered the trauma. But the biggest key to this, now I did this for many years, cognitively, I had learned what all the emotions were trying to teach me. But the step that I missed was that you have to connect with the emotion that it caused. Because now you're directing the energy and feel it, as they say, to heal it. And so once it's been felt, and then you can understand and explain to your younger self, whether you step in there and protect them, whether you help them process the emotion and love them, give them the nurturing, the compassion that they never received, whatever that may be, now they're able to let it go. And now your emotional aura starts to mature and starts
And
to grow.
literally, we have to be the proxy for them because that child can't emote it. So we basically, I've been taught 90 seconds, feel the emotion until it's almost going to destroy you. Crying, sadness, wanting to anger or whatever, and cry it out to the point where there's a big vacuum inside of you. And then you know it's done because somebody will trigger you about that thing afterwards and you won't give a shit. There'll be no trigger, there'll be no emotion. You'll just know. And then you basically fill with love afterwards.
Right. And then you can have a natural organic reaction. I remember I actually went through like sadness and grief because I thought how much of my life has been filtered through all this garbage. How many beautiful things,
Yep.
how many beautiful things did I miss? How much did I not actually see the truth because I was looking through the filters of the trauma? So
yep.
Right? It is. And so I think it's really important for us to understand that the healing journey is very unique. I've also studied, like you, I've also studied the breath work. The body has an innate ability to release trauma on its own without you actually doing through breath work.
You don't have to feel the pain. You just breathe like a mother trucker. Your mind shuts down and emotion comes out. And you don't know where it even came from. And it's exactly what you need.
Right? So what I tell people is try everything and then find something that works for you. You could go to Reiki, you could go to frequency healing, you could go to someone like myself who's been a life coach and a spiritual mentor and stuff, who will teach you to empower yourself with the tools that I've learned. Or you can go to somebody like you, where maybe it's through breath work or through sexual healing, like you were saying as well. There's so many different ways for us to heal. It's like when I was learning about all the herbs on the plant that help us heal in our bodies. It was mind-boggling how much stuff is here for our benefit. And it's the same with your healing, and putting ourselves into the darkness, as they call it, within ourselves and shining our light on it, as scary as it is absolutely incredibly beautiful because you're an innocent child of God.
And the key is we have to feel it all, though. We can't avoid
Yes.
it. Like a lot of
No.
people go to Reiki and say, okay, the Reiki healer is going to put the symbols over me and I'm going to be good. And you're going to feel like you want to cry and scream, but you won't on the table or in a massage or anything. You have to go home and scream and shout that thing out and let the energy go, because nobody can move it for you. They can only expose it for you, is what I found.
Right? And if somebody tries to heal it for you, yes, we all have the ability to heal each other, but if you don't get the lesson from it, what it was trying to teach you, it will return, you
Absolutely.
know. And so we need to understand that we came to master energy. In order to master anything, you need to learn about it. So what am I
And if
learning?
you're going through hell in your world, it's more than likely you're dealing with one of them right now. Go spend some time with somebody that can hold space, can witness you, can talk about your trauma, and you can express those energy. My dad did this and that happened and whatever. Once you've been seen, if you can put it down afterwards, you're healed. But if you cannot put it down and it defines you, oh, I'm broken, I'm a traumatized person, I'm raped, I'm whatever, you will forever be that. It's in your label until you release that energy, that trauma, that sorrow.
I totally agree. And I think that, the other part of it, the majority of our healing journey is inside. And all the answers that we need are inside of us. We're always looking for the next big, healing possibility or healing ways and stuff like that, and looking outside us for all the information and stuff. Don't forget your own innate ability to understand that and go inside. Everything you need is inside you,
And
and
you're
so that,
unconscious of it. That's where tools like breath work, sacred sexuality, you talked about sexual healing. I basically just teach people to go into their body, ground themselves, and use their orgasmic pleasure to heal their body for themselves without another person. It becomes much more gigantic afterwards. But why do you think they've shamed our sexual energy? It will spontaneously awaken us. People have had deeply orgasmic experiences and smash them wide open, and they're crying and they're screaming and they're sad and they're whatever. It's just like breath work. They're two are the same. Like when you're sexual with each other, with yourself, you're which is breath work. But
right?
once you're touching your genitals for fun or whatever, that's shameful. This is dirty. The church is going to send me to hell. No, you're not. Because babies inside the womb will self-pleasure themselves, because it's our birthright to feel pleasure in our body. And how many of us feel it on a regular basis? How many
Right?
rules do we have that says I can't be sexual with even my husband or wife because I have this shame? The church says this, it's only for creation of children. I got to wear a condom, which is an electrical insulator. We want to have tools. You can go and be with a therapist and they can hurt you all day long and you can sit with it and fumble with it, when you really just need to have a deeply breath enhancing experience. And that's the only way the energy is going to move, is with the breath, whether it's sexual or breath work.
Absolutely agree. And I want to go back to you saying holding space. That message has actually been coming through quite a bit. A lot of us who are healers have spent a tremendous amount of time working on ourselves and, wanting to share that healing with other people, but we've done it on our own. And, some of it is hyper independence, but, your journey is very unique to you and yourself. But nothing is more important than for you to have others hold your space as well. Now is the time for us to come together and start uniting. And the most important part of having somebody, that there's such healing in just somebody holding space for you in a bubble of love without judgment, and letting your story hit the air and letting it be there, and you can sit with it. You know how to heal yourself. It's just important to have people around you that you trust, that you feel that you can do that with. And I was given that gift a couple of weeks ago, and I'll tell you what, it freed me like you wouldn't believe. Out of all the healing that I've done and stuff, I just needed to have somebody listen to my inner child and validate that they heard the story, that they believed me. Because you and I were talking about it. In this lifetime, I feel that, they gave you a menu of everything you'd like to experience here. And at the bottom, there was this little square that said select all. And my dumb butt just selected all and said, sure, I'll do it. All I can do that. Wow. Like, it really is challenging. But on the same token, it's because I wanted to be able to help people heal. I wanted to bring that energy in and transmute it, especially at this time. Because at this time, we have an opportunity to create a new world for ourselves, a world that's full of love, peace, joy, equality, and abundance for everybody. It's just we have to believe it in our hearts, and we have to be at the right frequency in order to manifest it.
And I would say this, would you believe that you've healed it in you, so you carry a vibration that can help other people heal it in them by speaking about your experience?
Absolutely. And so I was having this conversation actually just yesterday. So I want you to imagine that as you continue on your journey and you're healing and doing stuff like that, that now you're at the grocery store and there's a woman standing in front of you, and she is standing in the line, but she's also standing in your energetic aura.
Yep.
She has not spoken to you. She may turn around and give you a smile or something, but your energy is so powerful that everything that you have gained as wisdom and healing and your love vibration, all of it has the potential to heal her, because
it basically goes into her field and she has the choice whether she chooses or not. But I hear you.
Exactly, and I think that's so incredible. I mean, when you truly start to grasp that we are all one,
yep,
every little bit of work you do on yourself contributes to the rest. And that's how powerful we are. And they don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know that if we all got together and started manifesting the world we wanted to see, oh my gosh, I remember my spirit was showing me how if we all sat together in meditation and created the world that we were looking for in our minds and our imagination and held that vibration for at least 10 minutes, we could literally change timelines.
The whole planet. Yep.
Literally, like instantaneously. I was shown the ripple effect of what it would do. And it wasn't everybody. It was just a good majority of people.
Well, what did they say? One person that's enlightened counteracts like something like 1 million people on the planet?
I'm not sure of the exact number, but yes, absolutely. Because love and higher vibrations are so much more powerful than the lower vibrations, of the lower vibrational emotions. And I think it's really important for us to understand that with the emotions, as we're learning from them, that they put them in two categories. One is all the love vibrational emotions, which are the higher ones. And then the other side is fear. There are only two categories they can fall in. Right. And so where am I manifesting from? Am I in the love vibration or am I in the fear vibration? And so that's kind of making it a little easier and not so complicated to figure out where am I creating from? Because
I think people need to understand how well worn the dense one is. The fear. I don't have enough money. I don't this or whatever. Cancel. When now we're trying to choose a better. It's like somehow the money's going to show up in my account and somehow I'm going to have my rent paid and it doesn't require me to prostitute myself and have a job and please some angry person or whatever. All my needs are going to be met if I allow it. That's simple.
Right. And if they're not, then what's showing up? What's showing up for you to pay attention to? Again, like I like to get up in the morning and I'll say, good things always happen to me. And I live an abundant life. And so it's, and the money just kind of comes in. I don't know where it comes from. It just does. It just shows up because I'm asking the universe to validate my belief. My belief is that I live an abundant life. My belief is that, good things always happen to me. And now the universe can bring them to me in all kinds of infinite ways. Right. Yeah, and that's part of our rewriting the operating system in our subconscious mind.
And I can speak to that. I'm a computer engineer. I was working on people's technical IT equipment, and basically I was having to rewrite the source code in their brain about their divorce and other things because their life was getting fucked up by their computer not working, which was a propagation of their divorce or other things. After a while, it's like, no, this computer works really well. I'm NLPing them, almost hypnotizing them into believing their hardware works. So their problems don't come through this thing that I look bad if it doesn't work. And they can deal with it in their own life. But they didn't want spiritual counseling. They didn't want healing or whatever. But it's like, oh, I hear you. I've had a divorce too. And it's hard or whatever. And you're going to get through this. That's about the best I can do because I did. I'm in the vibration of.
Right.
So
And so, yeah, you can be just having a conversation with somebody and just a conversation, and all of a sudden a spontaneous healing happens, you know. And it's also about your vibration. Where is my vibration? If I'm holding a loving space for you, then my vibration is in love. And so it has the ability to do that without me even saying anything, just supporting you and exploring what that's like. I like to think of it as, somebody's in the dark and you're just walking beside them, trying to, or showing them where their light is. That's it.
right.
And so you have the innate ability to heal yourself. And again,
So
it's
we've talked a whole bunch of woo-woo stuff in our experience, and this works for them, but doesn't work for me. Can you give a procedure that somebody could take from this live and try over the next week, like just a test, like I am abundant and worthy or whatever, when you wake up in the morning? What's something that you could say would be powerful? And if people are religious about it and give it the opportunity to be truth, to see a change?
Well, I think the biggest thing is to have fun with it. So instead of being the healing and the heavy stuff, yeah. So get up every morning and say, good things always happen to me. If that's your words, pick your words
Mm-hmm.
that resonate with you,
Mm-hmm.
and then play with manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun with it. Today, I'm going to manifest a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Where's that cup of coffee coming from? Maybe a friend will call you and say, "Hey, I was thinking about you. Let's go for coffee. Let me buy you coffee."
And there'd be
You
a
know,
$5 bill on the ground blowing in the wind, and you grab it.
right? Or maybe you decide to go for coffee, and the person in front of you at the drive-through pays for your coffee.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where it comes from, but play with it. And then what that does is, number one, it gives you more of an inner child type of playfulness with your manifestations, but it also will start to open you up, connecting you to your higher self more, because now your higher self will be able to say, hey, manifest this, pay attention to the little signs I'm showing you when these things are coming through, because now you're coming from a place of wonder. You're expecting these miracles to happen. You're wanting to confirm that what you're doing is working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's very important. I think it's also very important for us to refrain from focusing too much energy on the collapsing of things around us. And
You
so
can't
I
change
would
any of
like
it.
to, right? I would like to suggest to people that if you can't meditate is the best. But if you can't meditate, at least put your headphones on or whatever, or sit and listen to some music in quiet, or go out in nature and just picture in your mind, being playful with it, what kind of world you would like to see. If if the creator gave you a magic wand and said you can have anything you want, what would you create? What do you see? What have you learned from the world that we've experienced that you would not create, or maybe create differently in our world as it's coming? I think that's really important that we do that every day,
Can
because
I add one that's a little off the wall?
of course.
It's what I talked about earlier. Self-pleasure yourself. So go in your room, put some candles on like you're going on a date with yourself, get some lotion, do whatever you need to feel sexy. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's a secret. At the end of your orgasm, that kind of drooling and really relaxed is actually meditation. If you cannot meditate, you can't quiet your mind, you are guaranteed that your mind is quiet afterwards. There's these beautiful effects of being in your body first. So kind of ground your feet and maybe massage your legs, feel sensual, start to feel pleasure, and pull that energy up your chakras. There's something called fire breath orgasm. You basically, once you start feeling pleasure and you're about to explode, just go squeeze your PC muscle or your Kegels for a woman, go and pull it up one chakra. And then it's going to get less sense there. And then pull it up, pull it up, pull it up your body. What you're going to do is you're going to start pulling your Kundalini up your spine. It's the caduceus it's basically a white snake and a black snake, till it basically gets up here in your pineal gland, and it makes this chalice with your pineal gland in the middle. And basically at the point of orgasm, redirect your energy, instead of outward and coming out your genitals or your ejaculate or whatever, breathe it into your chest, and your ribs will crack. And this is what they call in the Temple of Isis building your Ka body. But use that energy and it will set you free. You will feel so relaxed. Let the orgasmic energy bubble around in your body. This is your creation energy. And then at the moment that this is happening, or before you even start, set an intention, say, I'm going to use this sexual energy to create a new partner in my life, or money, or a new car, or whatever. This is the literal act of sex magic that people talk about in Tantra and other things. We use that energy, bring it up in our body, expand our light body or our car body, and we become back more of our Christ self or our God self. And at the point that that orgasm happens, these little fluids come out and holy chrism is created. It comes out of the chalice of our pineal gland that goes down our spine, and we'll just feel electrified because we're connecting back to God. So instead of doing it from hard and struggle and all this kind of stuff, get no mind in it. Feel the pleasure, use the pleasure. It's going to blast all the shit out of your central channel and your chakras, and it's going to clear you, and you're going to feel awake and alive. Use that moment of clarity, like you're saying, walking in nature and being quiet or whatever. You're immediately meditative, and it's like, oh fuck, I'd love a new house, or I'd love something. That amount of energy, the reason they've suppressed sexuality is it's so powerful. It has the ability to spontaneously awaken people. So try it. It may seem shameful, it may seem dirty or whatever, because the church says you're going to grow hair on your palms and you're going to go to hell and all this kind of stuff. Babies do this in the womb. Are they dirty? No, they're doing it because it feels good. And we've lost the ability to feel good in our life. This way, I can guarantee you're going to feel good. Even if you have to use a little bit of stimulation through some good porn, I wouldn't say like horse porn or beating or bondage trauma. Do something that's real, where the person on the other end is actually having a real orgasm. And just allow that. You may not have a sexual partner in your life, or a woman or a man or whatever. Build off that. There's a lot of really good, positive, high vibrational porn out there. And I only speak of this because I teach about sexuality, but everybody's shamed about it. Don't watch that. It's dirty. It's ugly. And you're not supposed to ejaculate, or a woman's supposed to ejaculate as much as a man. It's crazy. It's our holy Amrita. It's our elixir of life. But we've been suppressed into not sharing it with anyone, not having it. Got to have it during only marriage. And I'm dirty if I do it otherwise. So we're all running around as sinners because we had some pleasure in sex. Well, I'll tell you right now, I waited till 30. I was a virgin as 30 because I was in the Catholic Church, and I'm a good little boy. It didn't make me anything special. It made me really suppressed and repressed sexually. But that had, and there's no guarantee that even when you get married, you'll have sex with your partner. Your partner may have as many sexual traumas as anybody, shame and repress you. That was my marriage. So now do it with yourself. Do it for yourself. And just like you said, if a lot of people had a lot of orgasms on a regular basis for themselves, the world would enlighten just as quick as anything.
Right? I mean, the energy, again, I go back to play with energy. It's exactly what you're saying. The sexual energy is creation energy.
And it's play.
Right? And very potent and powerful energy. So I totally agree, with what you're saying, that, we're just such amazing beings, and we just don't realize it. And when you truly start down your path and start to connect deeper with the true divine self that you are, you realize, like, oh my God, I'm like this kick-ass spirit, like I have so many amazing things about me. I remember when I first started to realize, I'm like, oh, we're just like the Care Bears. We all have our unique stuff, and we're going to shine our light out into the world and stuff. But it's way more than that, like your superpowers. You have amazing.
Keep talking. I'll show you something. Keep going.
Yeah. And so I encourage you to explore it, to get in there and find out, who am I? Like, what is this all about? And have fun with it, there you go. It's a Care Bear. I love it.
This was given to me by a partner in the past, where I was open and loving with her. And this is literally me. My heart is wide open. It's got a king's crown on it. This lays beside my bed. I had to clear it of energy yesterday because there's a bunch of attachment to it. But this is what we're doing. We're a human being shining out of our heart with a smiley little bear. Children watch this, and usually a rainbow comes out of his heart. That's who we are. Simple.
Right.
A child playing with a teddy bear. Oh, I love my teddy bear.
Right. Exactly.
I don't sleep with it, but it watches over me every night I sleep.
There you go. Isn't that amazing? I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah. So that's what we are.
Children.
We're soldiers, warriors. We're, queens and kings and stuff. We just got to stand in it and recognize it and feel it in your heart. Feel it in your heart. When you're facing difficulty or challenges or things are confusing, number one, get the facts. So you can sort out all the BS your brain's trying to tell you. Get the facts.
Yep.
If it hasn't happened, then there are no facts, right? And the other thing is, then I'd like to do this thing where eagle is one of my power animals. And so what does eagle do? Eagle has an eagle eye. And so it zooms out and it looks at the big picture and can see all the details. And so zoom out of your situation, get yourself out of the emotions that are mixed in with it and look at it from above. Look at it, okay, what's truly happening. And,
That's the observer.
Something else that's been very healing for me as well is sometimes when we need to forgive somebody or we feel like we just need to talk to that person and they're not willing to come to the table and talk, you can go into meditation and talk to their higher self.
You can.
You can literally go in and sit down with them and speak your truth and then listen to see what kind of messages come through from them. Sometimes you'll be shocked at, the way you thought it was, maybe wasn't the way that it actually was happening, and so it came from, you get more information that helps you to process. And also a reminder, sorry?
Critical that we're not changing anybody outside of us. It's changing within us. Once we make the realization, once we make the change. I've done so much healing work on myself, and my test now is to go visit my parents for a couple days and see how they've changed, because that tells me that the work I've been doing on my lineage is going back up to them, and it's beautiful. Not everybody has that with their parents, but it's an awareness that what's changing in here shows up in your reality. That's simple.
Exactly. And
if
I found sometimes,
world, start here. Keep going.
Right. And I found sometimes, now I don't know if everybody is like this, but there are a good chunk of people that when you learn a lesson, when you heal, sometimes the universe comes back and says, did you? And so it will present a situation to you that normally you would have react to, or it will want you to almost prove that, yes, no, I learned this. I'm not going down that path anymore. I'm closing the door to that because I got what I needed. Thank you very much. And so, and the other part is you'll realize too that you've healed because it doesn't trigger you anymore, like you said. You know what? It's just, oh, well, like it's a story and that's all it is now. So,
it's not part of your self-definition. Right. And going back to what you're talking about, having people that can hold space for you, you're literally boiling yourself down, burning off all your sticky notes that are on your forehead says I'm bad or I'm traumatized or I'm whatever, and you're asking somebody to hold you while you figure out who you are again. That's initiation in the Temple of Isis. We burn down, and a partner holds space for us while we're in a ton of sexual pleasure, but we come out the other side and we're a new person. Because we're now sovereign. We don't have all those stories from our parents. We don't have all that pain and suffering in our body. We may be crying and screaming at the point that we're burning down, or the phoenix, like you said, and we come out and it's like, huh?
Right.
Wow, what the hell?
But I think it's important for us to recognize, I actually, because of so much trauma that I've been through, and I'm not trying to be, I had so, more than anybody else, but on the same token, I was actually shameful of my story. I was grateful for the teachings that it gave me that I was using to help others as well heal. But I never wanted to tell my story. I never wanted to sit and tell the whole story. It's just so long and sad and, traumatic and all that stuff. But there's power in that. There's extreme power in having somebody, learning to trust, number one, that somebody will hold space for you without judgment and believe you and validate it. But it's also validating your younger self that, yes, these things happened. Yes, these things are valid. Your feelings are valid and your experience is valid, but it doesn't have to define you anymore.
Right. But the key is, don't do it once with an empowered person. But when we start doing 5, 10, or we talk about it all the time, we just coat ourselves with the shit. The once, with the emotion and the truth and the absolute, to have a space holder that can sit here and say, Lisa, tell me what happened to you and explain your life. And that person's received it, listened to it with absolute intent and held absolute space, you'll be free of it. But we get stuck in the 500 times we've said, I wounded this and I did that. My dad did that to me. Fuck it. Excuse the French. Let it go.
Right?
Done.
Exactly. No, I agree. And I had the beautiful experience just 2 weeks ago. And like I said, I've been on my path probably, I don't know, 18, 19 years now. And so, but I would go in, I would, I broke it down into emotions, and I would go in and do the healing for this emotion. And then I'd go back, and when I got triggered, and go back and do the healing for that emotion. But I never pulled it all together, and I never
It's
pulled
all a
it,
tangled mess. Yep.
right? And so I was blessed to have two people that literally for 8 hours let me tell my story. And, it was just so freeing to me. And originally, when I started the story, I said, I hope I never have to tell that story again. But now that it's out, that it's hit the air, that it's validated, I will love happy to tell my story, whatever part that needs to be heard. And so it's a chapter that closed. And
So where did you find people like that so that other people can find it?
well, interestingly enough, I just reached out to somebody that I had connected to before. Now that leads to a different part of my journey where I actually had hardly anybody on my journey guide me because I
Right.
had trust issues.
Right.
And so, because I was never actually parented
So
as a kid.
let's come back to this in a sec. But would you say those people were community, people that you could trust in your
Yes,
loose community, and we're going back to community? So continue
yes.
what you were saying. I just didn't want to lose that point.
No, you're absolutely right. I was going to come back around to that, but yes. And so I had to just take a chance and trust, because when I looked at it, because I didn't trust and because I didn't invite people into my world, my private world of where everything is and stuff, that's what showed up in my life. There was nobody there. There was nobody that I felt like I could trust to talk to. And so I had to push through that boundary and that barrier of trust and ask somebody, listen,
Mhm.
I need some help. I need this. And that leads me to the next point that I really wanted to make in this live, and that I'm speaking to the healers. I'm speaking to the ones who've been working so hard, doing their shadow work and healing their inner child. It is time for us to come together and start supporting each other. The journey is usually inwards, which is lonely or is by ourselves, but we've reached a precipice where we need to start coming together with unity. And that unity is being able to hold space for each other, being able to cheer each other on, and to pat each other on the back for all the hard work we've done and stuff.
And we're not just talking for normal people. We're talking this community. Everybody that's going to be part of this live, I haven't shared it, but is going to be part of a WhatsApp group where we support each other at this higher vibrational level, because we're going to be out supporting 3D people or people that are going through the normal things, but we're going to have our own problems. And we're actually trying to source a new 5D vibration and build it with other like-minded people first, so that we can echo it out to the people that we are in service to. And that's massive.
Absolutely. And let's face it can be very draining at times for, supporting people and healing. And so let somebody hold you. Let somebody
Absolutely.
hold you in their cradle of love and space and support you. It's so important because it is an energy. It's energy is given back and received. So open yourself up to receive. I
Well,
think
and we can't see what's in our shadow, and especially light workers, we've got big shadows because we're really bright. But if there's a sexual wound, or still talking about our rape trauma or whatever, could you imagine if you had somebody that says, Paul, you just talked negatively about yourself. You talked about sexuality in this negative way and you felt very shamed about it. Well, I did. I grew up Catholic or whatever. Well, you haven't healed all your Catholic shit. Can we talk about it? Can you imagine a person that can reflect for us and not come out shadowy to you or whatever, or project at you? And now it's like, hey, let's talk about it. I need to hear your story. And
right.
then that story is going to be gone, and that shame and all that guilt and all this kind of shit is gone. Essentially, everyone that's been on one of these lives, including yourself, is a person that is safe to hear your story, to allow an unload of what no longer serves, because we've done it ourselves. And everybody's going to resonate differently. Somebody might resonate with you. Somebody might resonate with me. I have a very direct and powerful energy, which scares the fuck out of some people, but that's how I address everything in my life right now. If you want a quick turnaround and absolute faith, and me being laser like in helping you get through it, I'll help you. Yeah, I'm the one. But if you want to be softer and more feminine energy, there's only been one man on this so far, that Benjamin Harrison, the gamer. Everybody else has been feminine, because a lot of the women are doing this work. They're much softer in their addressing of the directness and this kind of stuff, which is going to work for some people, but it's not
Right?
going to work for everybody. I don't know
Exactly.
what the masculine needs. I know I'm a version of it. You might be a version of it too, but we're all figuring out who we resonate with, and then that person can help hold space. You're going to trust them. That's part of why we're doing this lives. I trust Lisa. She was really open about all her shit, and I had a similar experience. So they're going to come talk to you. That's what the power of this is. I can't
Exactly.
help anybody but everybody's a part of me. You're a part of me. I'm a part of me. The people that are listening to this live are all part of me. And I want to give it the best chance with the least pain and suffering to get out of this hole, because we're all in a hole, just with truth. And the one thing you were going to mention, you mentioned earlier about going and exploring all your stuff, be prepared to find out that maybe over 50% of what you know to be truth is not actually truth. It's bullshit. It's been poured in your ear. You have to have a job to support yourself, to survive. You got to pay the power bill. You got to pay the taxes. I found out today there's a video. It's called Canada the Illusion. And it basically says that we've been led a pile of poop, and the BNA Act, which supposedly incorporates Canada, wasn't signed by the right people. It wasn't notified. It's all illusion. So the whole idea of Canada isn't even exist in law.
Well, it's interesting because one of my manifestations was I manifested no borders. And so
Well,
we are beings, we're spiritual beings that should be able to roam the earth free, and be where we want to be, yeah,
yeah.
and with who we want to be,
Yeah.
so yeah, like play with that. What does the world look like when you're doing your manifestation?
So
And
some might call the Trump 51st state is the first step of that. All of North
right,
America is now going to be part of it. And there's another video, I can send it to people. This Dr. Sydney Brewer is talking about how Canada's in probate right now to be the 51st state of the US. Once Trudeau's been released and all these other facts, it's going to become part of America, North America, not just USA, which is all
right,
scrambled and fallen apart. A whole new group, including Mexico. That's what
right,
NAFTA and all these other things are in Canada. So
exactly.
your truth is actually manifest. It's coming right now.
Yeah, we
And,
deserve to be free, and we deserve to have the earth provides us everything. She's our mother, and so let's spend some time with her, connect with her. That's the other thing. The energies that are coming in right now are so intense. Lots of people are experiencing physical symptoms. Get yourself outside and ground yourself into the earth. Her Schumann resonance is raising, but it will help you acclimate the new energies that are coming through and harmonize them within
and you're
yourself.
literally grounding it into the planet. You're at a grid point.
Yes.
You're bringing it and saying, here, Earth, take it. And if you let it go through your body too much, I'm like this last week and a half, I've had diarrhea almost every day. Not that something you want to share, but my body hurts, my pain, all this kind of stuff. I live on the second floor of an apartment building. I'm not very grounded. So I go for a walk, which helps. And
Right?
you live out in nature is what I understand, which
Yep.
helps. We're all in specific places.
Exactly. Now there is something that I do want to bring together about the community and supporting each other. I think that's extremely important right now. High vibrational beings, as we heal ourselves, we will trigger each other because our energies will, but we trigger each other in a very loving place. And so it's important that we also understand that as we raise our vibration, we will start to see deeper truths. And that leads me to my next statement. And truth has a vibration. So a lot of times when we're dealing with people in our circle, our neighborhood, or whatever, please, please, please think from your heart. A lot of people don't have a high enough vibration to feel the truth. And so recognizing that we are all one, we're all connected. And
Or
that
the truth
person,
triggers them. It scares them.
right? That person doesn't have the high enough vibration to feel the truth. And instead, it's triggered them into fear. So, I'm not saying that you need to, connect with them and be friends with them or anything like that. That's up to you. But on the same token, don't judge them. Stop judging and send them some love and wish them well on their journey. They are you.
Well,
And so,
essentially, stop trying to whack them with a hammer to get them to
yes,
stop, which is the judgment. You're wrong. You're bad. You're whatever. When really inside there's a fire burning, like, holy fuck, this person knows the truth, but it scares the hell out of me. So now you're projecting at them saying that they're the cause, but they're not actually the cause. They're just the light that you burned your wings on as a moth.
right? And remember, the judgment, you're also judging yourself because that is you.
Three
So,
fingers coming back at you every time you point.
right? But that means that we're manifesting more judgment. The world needs less judgment, more love, right?
And judgment is just an interpretation based on a broken mindset. I'm judging you bad because what you're saying is bad, but you're going to be the stupid one at the end when it's not actually bad. It was good and it was exactly needed to wake you up.
Well, I find a lot of people who are judgmental. Number one, we didn't know that when we came in as babies. Somebody taught us to be judgmental, whether we were judged or they taught us to judge others. But the other thing is that we've got an internal critic inside us that is judging us. And it's so painful that we tend to project it outwards at other people and judge them as well. And so the judgment has to stop. I think it's important that we come together and recognize that we are one. The world needs more love, less judgment, because I see a lot of it going on.
So you basically said we have to stop doing that. So I would just add to this that when you feel judgment towards someone else, take a breath, step back, and understand how you're judging yourself and what wound or what pain it's coming from. And it may not be correct. It may be one of the lies we're trying to clean up right now. So look at yourself first.
Right.
Understand that judgment is three fingers pointing back at you. Own your shit before you make a statement. And then you can maybe make a statement that will help that person from their shadow they are projecting, which is an ad. But instead, if you're projecting your shadow on them, nobody wins.
Right. And again, it's so important for us to embody that. I call it staying in your own lane. Yep. Like, okay, if I'm triggered by somebody, that is my trigger to own. They didn't force me to feel that way. I chose to feel that way. And a triggered emotion is an emotion that just grabs hold of you and won't let you go.
Based on what?
Based on whatever happened, whatever situation.
An old story, an old program, old energy, that an emotion that's never been moved. It really just needs to be moved and you won't feel the same way ever again.
Right? So that emotion is actually stuck in you and it's trying to say, hey, pay attention to me. Please put some light on me and understand me so I can stop triggering you.
And put you in a loop that you understand this thing is bad all the time, but it's actually the light trying to get into your system.
Right? And so again, the staying in your own lane, own your own emotions, own your own reactions, your own self-governance, as I said, because especially when we're in relationships, friendships, family, whatever, relationships are the biggest mirrors for us. They are going to trigger us because we desire to have unconditional love with somebody, which is the highest vibration. Yep. And so when you want that, whatever is standing in the way of you having it is going to be triggered.
And everybody's belief of love is attachment, codependence, and loving outside ourselves, when it's actually supposed to be loving ourselves first. Selfishness in a kind way to ourselves and others is the highest thing, but it's told in the world that if you're selfish, you're a bad person or whatever.
Right? The shame.
I love you first is you. Put your hand on your heart right now. And if you're giving it to your lover and your kids and your friend, you are less. If you love yourself first and fill your cup first, you will never worry and expect and hope and be in a negative relationship again, because you'll realize it and say, ew, this isn't serving me. I got to move on. Thanks. Have a good day.
Right. And my mom was actually the one that triggered me into understanding more about unconditional love. I was wondering what is it I want from my mom that I'm so upset about? And the answer was unconditional love. I want unconditional love.
We all did.
So I was like, okay, well, define unconditional love. What is it? And so the best way I could use the human language to describe it was, it's 100% acceptance for who they are, who you are, without any condition to change or fix.
Right. And it took adult awareness to have that, because a baby just expected breastfeeding and softness and ease when your mother was maybe hard and angry and scared.
Right. And so with my mom, I was like, but I'm not giving her that. I'm trying to get her to be different.
Absolutely.
So how can I expect to get unconditional love if I'm not giving it?
But you didn't
And
know any better. You expected it just to be mother's milk or simple or
right,
whatever, or a happy mother, or even to get a relaxed nervous system from your mother when you hold her. But if she was in trauma, guess what? She created this, I got to be outside my body because it's too scary to be in this baby body. And then from now until I'm 54 years old, I still have that fear from the womb that I got from my mother because she was raped as a child. Whoa, what's
right,
going on there? Did I ever
exactly.
get the right program? I never did. So now you're the change. You're the shift. I'm the shift. We're all the shift for these mothers. And I see the change in my mother every day, but she'll be the last to admit it
Right.
because that was her truth.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And recognizing too, you guys, when we're on our journey in life and creation and, manifesting and creating and stuff, that not everybody has chosen to do this. And you
No.
need to honor them in their journey exactly where they are. That's unconditional love, 100% acceptance without trying to change or fix somebody,
And
and so,
sometimes they need to crash and burn to hit their bottom so they finally make a freaking choice. So don't save them every time. Don't lift them up. Don't give them half your energy. So that if somebody resents you and you don't know why, more than likely you've been helping them too much and they're not getting their, it's dragging out their pain period. So sometimes they just need distance. Hey, I
well,
love
that
you. I'm
I
walking over
was
here.
I was taking a personal development course, and the lady, the instructor, was very pivotal in me understanding that I would bend over backwards for people to try and make them comfortable, to try and help them and save them and stuff. And she literally looked at me. I'll never forget this. She literally looked at me and said, "How pompous of you to think that you know what's best for somebody else." And
Absolutely.
then afterwards, she explained to me that I was actually enabling them to stay stuck by trying to fix everything for them. And so, in
And,
essence, I was actually harming them,
yep.
and that really hit me hard. That really made me realize that, yes, discernment is needed when we're helping others. Are they willing to help themselves? Are they willing to do something about it? And we're only propping them up if we're fixing their problems. You can be there when they fall down and help them get back up. No problem. But
Support
until
them,
they're
but
ready,
from a distance,
yeah,
not
until
carry
they're
them.
ready. And
And
self love, sorry.
oh, I was just going to say the key test for a light worker, if you're listening to this or whatever, if you feel sorry for anyone, it's a huge clue that you're helping them unknowingly and carrying something for them. And the impact on you is as much as it is to them. If they're held down and they're heavy, you're probably carrying their heavy and you can't figure out why. You're feeling emotions throughout the day. You're actually feeling their emotions because you're so attached to them, trying to fix them and help them. They're hating you
Right?
because they can't move forward. And I've done that many times
Right?
in my past.
Yeah. I mean, we want to save everybody. We do. And especially when we're trauma filled from our childhood and stuff, because we know what it's like not to have any support. But we also have to be respectful and honor everybody in their journey and where they're at. You can send them love, like that helps them more than anything. Doesn't matter who
Absolutely.
it is, some stranger, somebody in a vehicle, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but we do, and that's unconditional love. I accept you for who you are, exactly the way you are. And I'm not
Exactly
trying
as broken as you are and how hurting you are and
to,
crying and you want to vomit and say you're suicidal or whatever. I can't change any or fix any of that.
nope.
You got to find
But
it yourself.
right, exactly. And I think that's so important that we recognize that in each other. So yeah.
Absolutely. What a high point. We're 10 minutes over our hour, but I'd like to give an opportunity you to explain where people can find you, how they can contact you, all that stuff.
Wonderful, thank you. I've been helping people, like I said, probably since 2009, and so I do have a unique way of working with people, and it's very gentle. And I share all my wisdom and tools with you, and of course, my energy offers you the opportunity to gain those tools for yourself and empowers you to heal yourself. And so I do all of my sessions by donation. And so you can reach out to me either here, direct message through Facebook, or
And
you
it's
can.
Liza Chapelle, not Lisa Chapelle, right?
That's right. It's Lisa
Okay.
Chapelle. Yeah. And so, or you can actually send me an email message to energymatterstribe@gmail.com, and you can be part of my tribe. So feel free. And like I said, if you are in a place where you can't afford anything, that's fine. Just let me know. And it's just a donation. Whatever you can afford at this time is wonderful. I don't want money or the lack of abundance to stop you from getting the healing that you deserve. And I would love to help you. So.
And I love that, because it's all about assisting humanity to ascend. And I hate all these light workers that are like, oh, my services are $1,000 and you got to, but people cannot come to you because they're $1,000 and they're limiting themselves to maybe 1 or 2 clients to show up when they could have hundreds. So I do the same. I don't publish it that way, but honestly, I even prefer to help people and then have them pay from their abundance afterwards once they've been successful, because I've been wasted my money so many times with people, hundreds of dollars here, and do this Reiki healing and shit. When really, if there's a big change and let's say $10,000 comes into my life, that person might pay $1,000 now for something that I might have only valued at 100 or whatever. But the abundance that comes into me will be shared with other people. People will come in and say, hey, I'm really hurting for money or whatever. And maybe we can be those angel investors for people. Or if we have enough of abundance, I have no problem sharing it. That's how simple it is.
And the other thing is too, don't be afraid to barter with the people. I mean, I've definitely felt the sting of not being able to get some wisdom or some teaching from somebody because I couldn't afford it myself. So I understand that. But the other thing is, there's also, I've done this as well, where you do something pro bono, but I'll tell people, pay it forward. Go find an elderly person in your neighborhood, shovel their driveway, help them with their garden, babysit for a single mom, do something to pay it forward. And that way it's just creating this wonderful gift of love that just keeps growing.
And the universe will reward both sides. Like I get value from doing a promotion like this. There's no money exchange, no nothing. It's not give me healing or whatever. But I know the universe will feed it back to me and pay me back in some other way for helping promote and support. Not that I need that, but it's natural law. It has to. When you give, you're going to receive. It may not be through the path that it's cash or whatever in this moment or whatever. I need to pay my bills. No, maybe somebody will offer me a house or an acreage to live in, and I will move into that at some point after I build up enough imbalance or whatever, because I just want to help everyone. But I'm not going to carry and hold and fix and any of these kind of things. I just want to give them an opportunity. If they can find Lisa and that's exactly the fit for them, perfect. My wish is granted. My purpose is done in this one. But I have yet to meet anybody that I've had a bad experience with. It's just like source flows between us in this. I finish your sentences, you finish mine. I hear that, and we all have gifts to share, and we're merging and melding and becoming more by promoting and supporting each other.
Well, and that's why I think the community thing right now is important too, for us to get together, and not just the healers, like even people who are on their path. I think it's so important for you to create maybe 2, 3, up to 5 people that you're closer with, that you check in on, that you spend time either online or in person with, especially during these times. Because if the challenging times do come and face themselves with us, it's those people that are going to help us hold the light. We're the ones that came here to anchor it in and to hold it for everybody. And so make sure you've got a good support system, and also everybody who you open up to and start connecting with, to make your community, also offers you all their wisdom, all their healing, all their support and love, and so it's so important that we start connecting with these people, not just through technology as well. If you can connect with them like in person, it's so much more powerful as well. And so
physical location is much higher. Think of it as the tree of love or the tree of life. It's like those people have a whole bunch of branches, and then you're going to put it out there. I put it out there. I want to create a community. So I put it out there. Somebody comes back and says, hey, I've got a shamanic circle in my garage or whatever. You can come and use it whenever you want. So I'll be having that community soon. I want to do public speaking. That community is going to show up as well. But it's all because I'm doing acts of service like this, and sharing my truth, and right, like your smile just lights me up kind of thing, because you know the energy, you know that by going into the world without holding back and being wide open and true and being scared and asking for a huge ask that you didn't think was even possible, and all of a sudden somebody offers it, and then all this other possibility. The guy that's part of the shamanic circle wants me to be much more involved in his community and all this kind of stuff. Just by me sharing, I was just like, what a blessing, all just for asking for something. So I agree. Right? But that's the same thing. Share it, pay it forward. If you got something from this live, go help your neighbor, or explain somebody, send them the video, put it on your timeline. We're not doing this just to fix ourselves or whatever, or make everybody feel joy and happy. We're doing this because we want more people in our playground. We're doing this because we want more people that have these realizations, are not sitting in the heaviness of 3D programs, so that we can play with them.
Right.
In my sexuality and play and all this, these are all our playgrounds that we've lost. And now I'm just trying to get people back so they can ask for what they want, instead of going to the bar and getting drunk and having some pleasure when they get home. Ask somebody at a conscious level, I'd really like you to give me a massage. Well, now I trust you and I'd love to take that into something else. Would you be interested as well? Without directness, without saying what we want, it's all indirect, and then it feels dirty and uncomfortable. And when it could be playful and light, oh, you want the same thing? Hey, I'm all in. Let's go.
Be bold, be you, be your unique self. Everybody came with a unique frequency. Own that frequency and shine it out for everybody. And if you did, like you said, like what Paul said, if you did get something out of this video, share it, spread it out. Maybe there's a message in there for somebody that you may not know who it'll reach, And so again, I thank you so much for tuning in. I thank Paul very much from the bottom of my heart for inviting me to be in this sacred space and to share and be the light, be that light.
And if you loved it, send it to 2 people. That's all it requires. 2 friends. We tell 2 friends and so on. It's like the Pantene commercial. Do you remember in the old days?
Yeah. They'll tell 2 friends and they'll tell 2 friends.
And then there's 100 little boxes and blah, blah, blah. That's all this is. All that spirituality is. All that awakening is me giving a little touch to your third eye while we're talking, and you doing the same thing. And maybe that seed takes a year to germinate, but it's waiting. You can't figure out why we got to smile. Why our eyes are bright. We're not crazy. We want something. We want you to have it too. And our vibration is begging you to accept it and see the possibility and try it out and test it. I don't expect you to do any of this stuff without trying it out and seeing what happens. But when it happens, you're going to be like, oh, maybe they were right. And then the quickness from 0 to 16,000 friends is instantaneous, because you now have that gift of us smiling and telling you what's a possibility.
Exactly. And you know what? I love you guys. I love you all. You are me, and I love you with all my heart. And I'm so proud of you for being on this journey and for being here at this most amazing time. Be the programmer of the Matrix. You got it. And use that magic wand. It's crazy.
You got it. And you survived, and you're a miracle. And look at you. And thank God, all the power to you, all the people, because we're just an example of you. I didn't get deep into my heavy stuff, but we all got hurt and got smashed and got crushed and got damaged in some way, shape, or form to find ourselves. And that's what you're doing.
Absolutely. And I would love to help you. Anybody who's feeling struggling, stuck, I don't care if you've been a healer for 20 years or you're just new to your path, please feel free to reach out.
And you're the first person that said a donation based. That's huge. So
it is. I think it's important. Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Lisa. And we will conclude here. If anybody has any questions, put them in and I'll get you to put your connections to yourself and other things under the video when you get out here. and people are free to connect with you. Yeah, she's basically laid it all out here. So thank you all.
Thank you, soul brother. Love you lots. Take
Thank
care.
you. And I'm just going to hit end stream, and then we'll go back into the waiting room here. Just right back.